Okay, so in this video we're introducing what's called a complex number, and we're going to be focused on adding, subtracting, and multiplying those complex numbers. I'm going to start off by doing this by hand, but by the end of the video we're going to be focused mostly like 100% on the calculator. So calculator makes life a lot easier. So a complex number is any number that can be written in the form x plus yi. X and y are real, regular numbers. Could be fraction, decimal, positive, negative, or zero. I is an imaginary number that's defined as the square root of -1. If you try to do the square root of -1 in your calculator first, your calculator is going to give you an error. So what mathematicians did is they defined it as I. So from now on, for the rest of your math career, anytime you see the square root of -1, it's I. Well, if we take I and square it, we get -1. So these two are critical. Make sure you know those. Very, very important. Those are two definitions you must know. All right, so I'm going to start by just adding some complex numbers. Pretty much, real, regular numbers go together. Numbers with I go together. Okay, so just combine like terms. Here I have 3 plus I plus 2 plus I. 3 plus 2, those are regular numbers. They go together. 3 plus 2 is 5. I plus I are imaginary numbers. They go together, so plus 2i. Pretty easy. What I'm going to do now is do the same thing but with subtraction. Regular numbers go together. I numbers go together. So 3 minus 2 is 1. I minus I is 0. So 3 or 1 plus 0i. Now you can leave it like this, but really you should clean it up. 0 times anything is 0. So 1 plus 0, which is just 1. Okay? Now what I'm going to do is show you how to get to the I on your calculator. So pay special attention. If you need to rewind this video a little bit, do that. So what you want to do is on your calculator. Again, I'm using the TI-83 here. If you're using a different model, the steps should be the same, but it might be a little different. So just kind of look in your owner's manual if you need to. So the very first thing, anytime you see an I, you need to hit this mode button. It's right next to the yellow button. And you want to go down here to where it says A plus BI. Well, that A plus BI is very similar to our definition here, X plus YI. So that's what we want to hit enter. That way it stays highlighted when we move away. Then go back to your main screen. The I button, it's right here underneath the decimal. To get to it, you have to hit the yellow button and then decimal. So, for instance, in my first problem, I had parentheses 3 plus I plus parentheses 2 plus I. And I get the exact same answer that I came up with. So, as long as you type it in exactly the way it looks, and as long as you're in what I call complex mode, that A plus BI, your calculator can do a lot of these complex number problems for you. So the rest of these I'm going to do using the calculator. So in my next problem, my next example, I have 3 plus I times 2 plus I. I'm going to use calculator here. So 3 plus I in parentheses times 2 plus I in parentheses. Again, type it in just the way it looks, hit enter. And so my answer here is 5 plus 5I. Here I have 3 plus I squared. Type it in exactly the way it looks, hit enter, and get my answer. 8 plus 6I. Next problem, I have 3 plus I squared, parentheses, 2 plus I squared. Now I get 50I. Next problem, I have 3 plus I to the 4th power, parentheses, 2 plus I to the 4th power. Okay, now I get a really, really small number. Okay, so this here, right here, you should have negative 2,500. And in your calculator, at least mine says negative 2.6 e to the negative 10i. Well, that e is just scientific notation. What you do is take since it's a negative power here, you're going to move your decimal to the left 10 places. That's really, 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 really close to 0, so I'm just going to call my final answer negative 2,500. And that's it for this video. Obviously, using the calculator makes life a lot easier, but you can do all this by hand, so just keep that in mind.